Thank you so much, Venus, and this is Farrukh Qayyum speaking. I would like to say hello to all attendees, and I will start the webinar now. My main presentation is about the HorizonCube Editor, its introduction actually, and its workflow. The purpose of this webinar is certainly that I would like to introduce you the insights of HorizonCube Editor and its workflow. Currently, it's a manual editor, which is actually a model-based editor editing of the continuous HorizonCube. It is developed under SSIS consortium sponsored by several companies like Saudi Aramco, Marathon, Mole, Statoil, and Woodside, and we are acknowledging them for their sponsorship. My webinar is ordered into several parts actually. The first part is going to cover the background of HorizonCube, which will be very concise. I would like to introduce HorizonCube because I believe some of you might not be familiar with it. Then I will introduce the HorizonCube Editor and its features. And at the end of the presentation, I will demonstrate the workflow of editing 3D HorizonCube. The workflow will remain the same for 2D in general. What is a HorizonCube? For those who don't know about it, HorizonCube is a dense set of automated seismic events. The events are automated using the seismic dip and azimuth information. There are two types of HorizonCubes. One is continuous HorizonCube, the other is truncated HorizonCube. Examples you see at the bottom. In the continuous HorizonCube, events they always stay together. They converge, but they don't cross. In a truncated HorizonCube, the events mainly terminate with each other and they never converge. For editing purposes, we mainly support the continuous HorizonCube. HorizonCube impacts all seismic interpretation workflows. It has many applications, starting from sequence stratigraphy. It is used to identify sequences, subdivide them into system tracks, and interpret further higher order scales like parasequences. It is also used to create 2D and 3D Wheeler diagrams, and you can also use the same tool to correlate multiple wells using seismic and HorizonCube. We call it well connection panel. Not only this, but also it is used to construct models such as geomodels, low frequency model, which is fundamental need or requirement for seismic inversion, and generating rock property volumes. These two applications are, generally speaking, nowadays conventional practices. HorizonCube plays a vital role in understanding resource place, such as getting pre-drill geohazard identification, exploring for shale gas, and planning the geosteering, like planning your production wells. The question that we may ask ourselves, why do we need editing of HorizonCube? HorizonCube is a data-driven thing. Automated horizon in some areas may not reflect the geology that you anticipate. Often such areas are local within the survey. HorizonCube Editor helps to correct such errors manually. As you can see from the bottom image, bottom left, wrong HorizonCube events go haywire. You can create a background model yourself by editing a couple of events and then apply a correction on the whole HorizonCube within an area. As I said earlier, it is a model-based editing. If you see that our horizon locally goes wrong, then you can get a model something like this, a linear correction. That is what we suggest at present times, and this is what it is supported now. So if you compare back and forth, what we do, we just edit a couple of events and correct all events in between. Now I come to the main subject, which is about HorizonCube, its user interface, workflow, and I will demonstrate it. This is the main HorizonCube Editor dialog that you see on the left hand side. The main features that it supports are a model-based editor. It is simple and interactive. It works best within an area, so you don't need to edit a couple of areas at the same time. So you need to work within an area. It allows you to edit multiple events, and it is supported in 2D as well as in 3D service. Now I'm going to go through the main features of the user interface. I will describe the key ones in the presentation, and the rest I will demonstrate. What you see in the editor, an event index and a slider. This is what we call as a simple slider, single event sliding up and down. Here you have more than 200 HorizonCube events. You can slide them up and down and recognize which events are going wrong. So add them in the list. What you can also do, you will see that here there are color codes. These color codes are coming from the display. So the HorizonCube that you have displayed, and they should reflect the same colors. About the framework events that you see in here, if you see the framework event, it means that this is the input horizon that was used to create a HorizonCube. These serve as a zero error boundary. An edit event, if you edit like event number 17, you cannot cross the framework. We take the input information as in, and we don't want to edit the framework HorizonCube events. So you need to edit the events of the HorizonCube. All events with a suffix, which is actually a number, these are the events that you can edit, modify. There are two types of corrections that we support at present times. One is linear, the other is error-based. You can change the interpolation type from here. What is the result would look like if you choose, for example, linear and compare it with the error-based? In this slide, what you see here, I have edited an uppermost blue event and I moved it up. You see a seeded turquoise event, which is actually an edited event, which means that I want to move relatively all events up. There are two ways. Either move all events proportionally upward, or move events such that a residual is computed between these two events, and that is interpolated vertically as well as laterally. So this is called error-based editing a HorizonCube. In the HorizonCube interface, in the HorizonCube Editor interface, what you're going to see several icons that you can use while editing an event. The most important icon is at the top, which is called QC. QC is used to see a result of editing on an inline, on a cross line, or on a 2D line. It's a 2D QC method. 3D HorizonCube correction may differ. Lock is a function that you can use to make an event such that any subsequent editing that is done above or below it should converge with it. So you can merge several events by locking a certain event. Remove an event is actually only for the removing from the list. It's not going to remove from the HorizonCube. So it's just if you have added hundreds of events in the list and you want to remove all of those events that you don't want to edit, then you can just select them and remove them. Save seeds is actually editing that you have made for a particular event or number of events. So you can press this thing to save the edited versions of the HorizonCube events, and you can retrieve them back by pressing open button. For one editing in an area, there should be, I will say, one event should be saved only once. If you overwrite it and you assume that it's going to save with a new name, then it's not supported yet. Apply button at the bottom in the use of the user interface is used to compute the error cubes such that linear cube or error correction, and applies the error correction on the input horizon and activates the other buttons. Initially, you will see that rest buttons will be deactivated. So you need to apply first before you save. Revert is a very important function that is used to undo the changes that you made on an existing HorizonCube. By default, if you save a HorizonCube first time, it is going to ask you to write a new name. So if you press the save button, it's always going to ask you with the same name. Later on, you can save the same HorizonCube with the same name. I will suggest that you should always be saving an edited HorizonCube with a new name. About the workflow, HorizonCube Editor workflow is quite simple, just the way you do a normal Horizon editing. You need to identify an area first, edit the HorizonCube event or events, and edit them in a grid fashion such that the grid is loose. So, for example, you edit a horizon after every 10 by 10 steps. And you can also do this thing like only a 4 line, edit a 2D line first. And at the end you just apply, and it will interpolate the error laterally with a gap that you already introduced 10 steps, 10 inlines or 10 cross lines. So it is going to interpolate the edited events accordingly. Now I'm going to switch to OpendTect. Before I go ahead, I will explain you what I'm going to show. My main objective is to show you that what you should do before you start editing, and you should also preload the HorizonCube into the memory. And then I'm going to show you how are you going to launch the HorizonCube Editor, where that feature is in the interface, and how would you recognize and edit the events. And at the end, I'm going to show you how to save a HorizonCube, which is actually the edited one. Let's go to OpendTect and edit a HorizonCube. I'm switching the display. Now you should be able to see OpendTect. Yeah. Here you see OpendTect with color-coded lines, which are actually HorizonCube lines. Now you see in my display that there are somewhere in the middle, the HorizonCube is not following the background geometrical trend. Geometrical trend that you see on side is quite inclined, and HorizonCube is going horizontal. So what I would like to as you do is, first of all, edit this HorizonCube in a small area. Before I start, what I will do is I will set up some display settings. The settings that I suggest is, first of all, look and feel settings that you should always have. You go to Utilities, under Settings, you will find Look and Feel. In the Look and Feel settings, you are going to see a dialog which is called an option, which is called Show Progress when loading store data on inlines, and the same is for crossline. You need to set it No. What this option does is that if you set it Yes, then it's always going to pop up a progress bar of loading the inline in the scene. So you better need to toggle it off, because you don't want to have such interferences while editing several events. So if this is set, then that's good. Press OK. I'm going to press cancel because in my case it's already set. The next option that I suggest is to set the keyboard shortcuts. It's under the same utility settings, keyboard shortcuts. This will launch the shortcut shortcut dialog, and here you will see move slice forward and move slice backward. These two options are very important to move inline, crossline, or time slice with a certain step. For example, you see here in this toolbar 260 inline and step 10. If I want to press this green button using keyboard, then for the forward, moving inline forward, I have F key, and to move an inline backward, I have B key, and the same is the case for crossline. So make it sure that this option has already set. Now you can see in the scene, I can use the keyboard interactively to focus on an event and edit it. Right? So I can use F and back B key. Now, the next thing is to preload a HorizonCube. You can preload a HorizonCube using survey menu. Under preload you will find HorizonCube. Now you see already I have a preloaded HorizonCube and it says which ranges I have preloaded. You simply need to press load and it will ask which HorizonCube. Currently I am editing a 3D HorizonCube, so I will select 3D. And you can preload a package or multiple packages. If you have already QC'd your HorizonCube and you have noticed that only one package is wrong, the rest packages are correct, so you can just save the memory and preload less into the memory. So you can just select preload package number 3. In this case it's the same, but I have already preloaded, so I will not touch it. So you can also use mouse drag to select multiple packages. Yep. So if you have done HorizonCube preload, you are ready now to launch the HorizonCube editor. So how to launch it is you press this HorizonCube Control Center button. Optionally, you can go to Processing, HorizonCube, and 3D. Yes. This will launch the HorizonCube Control Center dialog. In the middle of this dialog, you will see what is active HorizonCube. So this is the HorizonCube that is preloaded. And then at the bottom, you will see several tools. We support several tools. The first tool is the Edit. So you need to select this, which is actually by default, and press Go. This is going to launch the main user interface for the HorizonCube editor. If the HorizonCube has already been preloaded, then it will be fast. Otherwise, if the HorizonCube has not been preloaded, it will ask you to preload the HorizonCube. Okay, let me describe you a bit here the display first. In the display, the editor is going to show you the framework events, which were the input events to create a HorizonCube. So all events which are in bold colors, you will see bold lines and colors, you will see these are actually the input horizons. So I use 4 horizons to create a HorizonCube. I can use this slider down. You can see relatively in the display, when I move down, then you see that there is a very thin line. And if I cross the framework event, then the framework event will become bold. So you will have to identify the event that you want to edit. For example, this event number 150, the blue line, is going here down. I would like this horizon to move up. So I will add it. As you press this add button, it will add it in the list, and the corresponding horizon will become slightly thicker in the display. And now the next event, for example, I don't want to edit one event, but I want to create a background model because it's actually model based editing. So I would like to add one more or a few more events. So like 154, it's added. I'm going to add. Okay. You not only need to add the events that you are going to edit, but you need to add some sort of constraints. Constraints in a way that are you going to edit the entire package, or you are going to edit within a package. For the example, in this case, as I move forward, back downward, then you see, for example, a certain event which is nice, which is good track. So I just select it as vertical constraint. So like event number 183, slightly dark blue color, rest turquoise color events, I'm going to edit them. Yes. So below this dark blue event, I'm not going to edit. So I will not put any seed on it. If I do this, then it means that HorizonCube Editor should edit events from here up to the green. Okay. Now you have options, different options. If you don't want some as an event that, okay, 154 is not nice, I can remove the event from the list and also from the display. The most important thing is when you add so many events in the list and in the display, then you may get confused. If you want to be focused and working in and you want to work in an area, better to toggle off some unnecessary events. For example, in my case, the light green color first horizon in the top, I want to toggle it off. I'm not going to focus on the red event, so I will toggle it off. So I'm going to only focus in this area. If you click 150 event in the user interface of the HorizonCube Editor, then in OpendTect at the bottom, the conventional Horizon editing toolbar is going to be activated. So you can click this button, which is seed button, and you can use the tab. If you are in OpendTect and OpendTect is active, then you can hit the tab key, which means that 150 event is now active and you can edit it. Yes, and your mouse should also change. It should become a pointer. And know how to edit it. There are different ways. You can do click, 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 click. Yes, and it will join the straight line. Optionally, you can hold the left mouse button down and drag. Yes, and it will draw the line the way you have drawn. Yes. Okay, so I have edited event number 150. I can move the inline backward. Yes, when you move backward, you are actually on the same event, so you can continue editing without going back to the HorizonCube Editor. Yes, you can move back again and you can continue editing the same event. If you see that events are converging with the framework event, then you can cross while drawing an event, you can cross the framework event without any problem. And in this way, the HorizonCube Editor is going to create an event which will be nearly zero level at the green level, as you see in here, which will mean that it will converge with the green horizon. Right. You can move forward and backward and keep on editing throughout the area. Right. And now I will go to event number 154 and I will edit it. See, I would like here, for example, you see as I move up, I would like this event that I'm editing at present, which is 154, where I'm pointing. I would like this event to converge with the upper event also, because if I do this thing, I may cross the overlying event, and I don't want to have, for example, I zoom in to have such an information, a wrong error distribution. So you can undo here. First of all, you will go back to the previous editing, and the next thing is you can make 150 lock. If you lock 150 event, which was the overlying event, then it means that now you cannot cross 150. So I will do the same now. I will try to cross it. I will select 154 now, and I would like to cross the overlying event. And in this way, the events are going to be converged. So this is a very important tool, locking feature. You can lock several events together while editing, and this is going to help you to make pinch outs, for example, as you see in this case. And you can also subsequently lock the next event and start editing the underlying event, for example 165. Okay, for example, I want to create a background model, something like this, and I don't want to edit the underlying events like the 183. The first important thing is that I would like to see the results in a 2D display that I already have. I would like to see how the events would look like after correction. So you can do this by pressing the QC button. QC button works on an inline across line that is selected. So you press QC and it will ask you a warning message. Please select an inline across line when on which the seeds are picked. So press OK. This is intentional warning. So you need to select the line that on which you want to see the results and press QC. So here you go. So you see that this is the way editing looks like now, almost proportional to my editing, and okay, that's fine. You can un-QC. And you might want to see the results on your cross line, for example. On the cross line, you need to add the HorizonCube first. Okay. And I would like to position the editor somewhere. Okay. Right. So you are going to see some dots which will be indicator of your editing. You can also edit them if you see dots are not parallel to each other or they are not making sense. You can also edit the cross line. Ideally, we suggest that you should be editing in a grid way. For example, I'm just setting up my display back. For example, if you have edited inlines, then on cross line you should be also editing so that you don't generate misties and interpolation errors. Okay, this is done, and for example, here I'm almost close to end the day, so I would like to save this session. So you can also save this session here and continue editing tomorrow. So you go to survey, save, and then session and save, and then you can call it any name, and this is going to save the HorizonCube session. It is going to save the same display that you have and the events that you are editing. You can restore the same session back. So per editing, we recommend actually one session. Okay. There are some other hidden tools that we support which are actually the same like our normal HorizonCube editing tool, like removing seeds. You can control click on a seed to remove it, and then it will rejoin the remaining two seeds by a straight line. And if you click shift, then it's going back to the original nature of the event, which was the actual HorizonCube event, which was not corrected. So control click, shift click are supported. Don't forget to use the escape key if you want to pan the scene and zoom in, for example. So pan it if you want to change the mouse style, and then escape again to go back to your picking or tracking modes. Okay. Now if you see that if you are happy with this type of correction and you would like to apply corrections on it and correct the HorizonCube, what you can do is just apply. Hit the apply button. What this is going to do, it's going to do several things for you. For each event, it's going to compute vertical, it's actually going to compute the error from the original to the new event. And if it is just linear based, then the editor is going to grid interpolate the error using the seeds. I save it and I assume that my HorizonCube is corrected now, and I can dismiss it. Okay, and so if I see my results of the HorizonCube, which is as you see in my screen now. So this is my HorizonCube before editing, and if I launch the HorizonCube after editing, I have already done it. So in the same way, the same event. So now you see I have edited HorizonCube, which is a generalized background trend. So in this way, you are going to expect your results. Okay. Go back to my normal presentation that I started earlier. I would like to give some useful tips that might be important for you. Before you start editing, there are some display related things that you should familiarize or should set. First is that tab key, get used to of it, and it is used actually to activate the picking. And you can also use the conventional escape key to change the switch or change the mouse from a picking mode to a pan mode. And you should also be using the keyboard shortcuts such as F and B recommended keys to move inlines and cross line forward without moving, without using the conventional arrows in the OpendTect. Otherwise, your eyes will move around OpendTect and you will be quite tired. And also because it allows you to edit multiple events simultaneously, so you should be toggling off all events that you don't want to edit. Some suggestions which are related to the editing. QC is a 2D thing. Don't expect that it will be the same as you will do it for 3D. Please avoid editing multiple areas. It's not supported. Otherwise, you will be changing the whole horizon cube, because it computes a rectangle from the seeds. So the seeds, which are the first and last seed in a small area, and it computes a rectangle within it, and it corrects accordingly within that rectangle. So if that rectangle becomes so large, then you know, and you're assuming that it's going to correct in an area and then in another area, then actually you are going to change the whole horizon cube. For sessions, we have some suggestions that keep one session per area. So if you override the session, then it will actually override the thing. So it will save the events, the new events that you modified. So you will not be able to retrieve like the editing that you have done 1 month ago. Continuing the same editor-related suggestions, save the edited horizon cube, I will say, always with a new name, but do not keep on creating new copies of the same horizon cube. So you should be saving always. I will suggest don't create more than 3 copies of the same horizon cube. The bottom most important thing is that the revert option is always useful. If you're not satisfied with the results, revert it and dismiss the editor. And please also avoid editing more than of the more than 3 or 5 events. What my practice is that it's editing becomes quite easy for me when I use a pen, because it's just like a chalkboard. So we also support the same tool on a Wacom tablet, which is fully supported for OpendTect. So I will suggest that you should be using a mouse instead of a mouse. You should be using the pen device with a Wacom tablet. For licensing matters, HorizonCube Editor is a tool of HorizonCube, so you don't need any other license. You just need 2 licenses like Dip Steering and HorizonCube. Along the same lines, this feature was sponsored. It's also, we are also going to add new features. Currently it's only model based, and we are trying to make it also data driven, and some other suggestions would be incorporated. What we have done recently, which is not available in the current stable release, but it will be available for you in a few months time by now. Currently linear is actually almost proportional interpolation between 2 edited events, but in future you will expect some sort of convergence patterns which were in the original horizon cube. So we are also improving the current linear algorithm. We are going to develop, it's not yet done yet, like you remove an area, and in between that area you're going to remove all horizon cube events, and then you're going to draw your own background model by editing 4 or 5 events, and in between you can recreate a horizon cube, either model based or data driven. So you will have an option to select, okay, which events that you want to remove. For example, you might not want to remove the whole package, but just within a package few events. Another thing that you will get is like when you edit, when you add so many seeds, and then you might have also an option that use the steering cube instead, because the horizon cube tracking is quite dependent on the start position, just like control points, seeds. So we are developing multi-seed tracking for dip steering and horizon cube. So once that is done, we will be doing data-driven editing also. So you will not only get a model-based editor in future, and you will also, but also data-driven editing too. I would like to thank you for listening to me, and now I would like to ask you if you have some questions. For that, I would request Vinesh, please let me know if there are some questions.
Thank you very much, Farrukh, for this presentation. And I do have a question here from Valentina, and I'm going to pass it to you.
Yes, please. Okay.
So if you can read it to the people, and then
yes, let me bring it up first, because Don't see it. Okay, neatly. Okay, here we go. The question is, when a starter surface is saved from HorizonCube, it does not contain seed. Is there a way to add regular seed points so when we try to edit, it does not wipe out the horizon from the whole line? Actually, if I understood it well, then it means that we are not saving the seeds. We are actually saving the seeds. So if this answers to your question. And also the geometry, the way you draw. So we are saving, if there is no drawn geometry, then we are saving actually the straight line between two seeds. So it's actually a display thing. But we actually save the Z positions of the seeds. If this answers to your question.
Valentina? Valentina?
Maybe you could just type in a message to us.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, any other question? Is there anybody has any other question? I don't see any hands raised or any other questions. So we have still a few minutes, so please feel free to ask. Okay. Probably she's not there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other question?
I don't see any other questions so far. It seems that it was very clear.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We want to thank everyone that participated with us today, and we also want to thank Farrukh, and also we want to thank our panelists, Claire and Sataki, and we hope to see you next month. And on the screen here, you can see that, as you know, that we have a webinar every month, and so just please feel free that to join us next month. And our webinar, as you can see on the screen, it is it's going to be by Eric Ponage, and also you will receive a recording for this session by Friday, and it also will have a link on our Facebook page and in our LinkedIn page. If you have any question after this webinar, when you listen to the recording, you just feel free to email us, and you can see the emails here written, webinar@dgbes.com and or info@dgbes.com. All right. Thanks, everyone.